was just watching a YouTube video. The title was something like, I'm just waiting to die. And it caught my attention because back in the day, I really felt that there was a point in my life where after having my heart broken, and having a mystical experience and having nothing come of it and being just completely full of doubt as to what it all meant, I too felt like I had experienced the complete depth of existence, and at the bottom of it all, there was nothing there. Literally nothing there. No purpose, no meaning.
I tried so hard.
And the prospect of life continuing was completely farcical and absurd. And I got to the point where I was literally asking God to kill me. But the really interesting thing at this point is like, I don't think I would have had that experience if I hadn't also beforehand had the experience that God is real and God created the world to love it. So, how do I go from knowing that to asking God to kill me? Because just existing is painful and pointless and absurd and incomprehensible. Why do those two things go together? Now, I've lived a long time since that time. That was when I was about 19 or 20 years old. And I'm literally 29 years older than that now. So, I've existed in the meantime, and I've gone through many ups and downs. But when I saw that video title, I completely resonated with it, and I found it on a day when I'm literally incapable of getting off social media and doing anything other than scrolling, besides maybe a tiny bit of market research. But a lot of the day, I'm sitting there on social media thinking, I'm wasting my life and it doesn't matter. I'm scrolling, I'm wasting my life, it doesn't matter. I'm scrolling, this is freaking painful, I don't know why I'm living. Because that's the feeling I get when I spend that much time on social media. And there was, in that initial period when all my illusions were destroyed and God didn't have anything to say to me other than what he did say, and my heart was broken by the girl, and I had zero hope that I could get past my social anxiety to actually do something in the world. At that time, there was no social media. There was no distraction of the internet, for me anyway. This was 95, 96. I didn't have the internet. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a TV, or like cable. Like, we had a VHS player, I think. And there was radio, there was some CDs and tapes, but the amount of silence around me, the amount of nothing to do, was like, it was like sometimes carrying around a 10-ton barbell, like without the muscles to do so. It was heavy, very heavy. But now it's almost like it's worse to have the distractions there. Because I remember probably one of my most go-to distractions was my guitars. And so even though I wasn't working on any goals as far as music goes, I wasn't in a band, I wasn't trying to find people to play with, I wasn't recording really. I mean, I had the tape deck so I could record ideas, but I couldn't do anything with them because I felt stuck. I didn't feel like I could reach out to people. I felt like a crazy person. So for me, I could only play so much guitar before I was like, okay, I did the thing that's most engaging for me at this time. Now I'm just not doing anything. Now I'm not just alone. Now I'm just have nothing to freaking do except go to my shitty job and barely get by. But now I've got all that and more with social media and YouTube and everything else. I could literally spend my whole day distracting myself from anything that had anything to do with me being a human living in the world and making something of my life. So I don't know if that's part of it. Is that why people get stuck more, or do they get stuck more these days in that feeling of why am I living? Because there was periods when I would get inspired by actual people or by myself. So I remember one time I got inspired by a guy who moved in a few houses down who was a mural painter. And seeing that he was actually making money as a mural painter inspired me that it was possible to actually be something other than just working for somebody else doing something you don't like. So that kind of got me back into drawing, just drawing at the time. I didn't have any paints or anything. But that was very different. I didn't see that all the time. I didn't have a phone I could just open up and see people being successful. So is that part of why it's harder to be inspired now? Because you can open your phone and see a million people being more successful than you. Is that it? We're just able to compare ourselves so quickly and effortlessly and basically put ourselves in a low status opinion, put ourselves as being low status compared to others so easily that it's hard to be inspired and hard to feel like, yeah, I'm one of the ones that can do it. Because I feel like all those people you see on the internet that are succeeding, they don't seem as real. Like their success seems real, and their status above me seems real, but they're not necessarily real people as much as like if you actually met somebody doing the thing. There's something more inspiring about a living, walking, breathing, and handshaking person who can inspire you because they're really there. and you can walk into their presence and into their life and see aspects of their life that are not curated, they're just there. That period of my life was the darkest period in terms of my mental health and what was going on in my brain, because, well, there's an overarching thing going on, but the thing I want to talk about now is like, I would have my friends come over, right? So I like had a friend, and he had friends, but I wasn't really friends with his friends, so he would have them come over, and they'd be having fun, right? They'd be just enjoying themselves, playing video games, talking, drinking. But in my head, my thoughts were just completely full of paranoia and hatred, and I thought they were all like, actually thought they were being happy in order to make me feel bad. Like that, those were the thoughts that I had going on in my head, and I just let them have full reign. I was like, okay, let's go with this. I don't know what else to think, so I'm gonna go with this. You're literally having fun to make me understand that I'm a piece of shit and I don't deserve to live, because, and it was almost like circular reasoning. I didn't deserve to live because I wasn't happy like them, and I wasn't happy like them because I was thinking these thoughts, and I was thinking these thoughts because I wasn't happy like them. And I was not happy like them because I didn't accept that I wasn't meant to do anything, or like I didn't accept that having any purpose for yourself was a complete sham anyway. Like, I thought I was supposed to be completely egoless, completely owned by some supernatural force that just took over my ego or erased it or something. So, I mean, that was the larger mental health issue going on for me. And that mental health issue only went away, I would say it went away on the back of a couple different things happening. One was getting inspired by that artist, Neighbor. And, well, okay, so number two, there was three I'm thinking of right now. Number two was, I decided I was just going to sit. I was just going to sit on the couch and stop trying to think of things to do or figure things out or be productive or enjoy myself. I was just going to sit there. Not fall asleep, not distract myself, just sit there. And when I did that, this feeling of peace came back to me that I hadn't felt in at least a year. It was the peace of just being happy for no reason. It was an unreasonable joy. It was the peace of not trying. And it was like my body and mind had remembered that that was possible without me even having to make any effort whatsoever other than to just stop everything else. The final thing was one day my roommate had gone on vacation, gone back to Iowa, and I think the only other person that was around that I was talking to at the time was my other neighbor, which I had sort of on and off again relationship with. And not the healthiest. And I just said to myself, there is no reason for me to be here. And so I just packed up all my stuff into my car and I drove back to Iowa without a plan. I think maybe I called somebody at some point to tell them I was coming. Because literally the only reason I was there was because I had moved there with that friend and we were paying rent together. And I guess maybe I thought I had an obligation to be that person paying rent with him. But I literally had nothing going on. And for some reason, it took him like going on vacation for me to realize that I didn't need to be there. And I could just do something else. Not that I had a great plan or anything, but it was like, just do something else. And I think that's a huge thing that people don't realize, is that just changing your environment, that pattern interrupt can be a huge, huge impetus to look at your world differently and actually have some hope.